Hello everyone, here we are again, ready for chapter 3 of James and the Giant Peach. As you can see behind me, I've been into school and I've got some of your amazing sketches in your Quentin Blake style, and I've put them up in my kitchen. I hope you appreciate them as much as I do. Chapter 3. It was at this point that the first thing of all, the rather peculiar thing that led to so many other things, happened to him. For suddenly, just behind him, James heard a rustling of leaves, and he turned round and saw an old man in a funny dark green suit emerging from the bushes. He was a very small old man, but he had a huge bald head and a face that was covered all over with bristly black whiskers. He stopped when he was about 3 yards away and stood there leaning on his stick and staring hard at James. When he spoke, his voice was very slow and creaky. "Come closer to me, little boy," he said, beckoning James with his finger. "Come right up to me, close, and I will show you something wonderful." James was too frightened to move. The old man hobbled a step or two nearer, and then he put his hand into his pocket of his jacket and took out a small white paper bag. "You see this?" he whispered, waving the bag gently to and fro in front of James's face. "You know what this is, my dear. You know what's inside this little bag." Then he came nearer still, leaning forward and pushing his face so close to James that James could feel the breath blowing on his cheeks. The breath smelt musty and stale and slightly mildewed, like an air in an old cellar. "Take a look, my dear," he said, opening the bag and tilting it towards James. Inside it, James could see a mass of tiny green things that looked a little like stones or crystals, each one about the size of a grain of rice. They were extraordinarily beautiful, and there was a strange brightness about them, a sort of luminous quality that made them glow and sparkle in the most wonderful way. "Listen to them," the old man whispered. "Listen to them move." James stared into the bag, and sure enough there was a faint rustling sound coming up from inside it, and then he noticed that all of the thousands of little green things were slowly, very, very slowly, stirring about and moving over each other as though they were alive. "There's more power and magic in these things in there than in the rest of the world put together," the old man said softly. But what are they for?" James murmured, finding his voice at last. "Where do they come from?" "Aha," the old man whispered. "You'd never guess that." He was still crouching and pushing his face closer and closer to James until the tip of his long nose was actually touching the skin on James's forehead. Then suddenly he jumped back and began waving his stick madly in the air. "Crocodile tongues!" he cried. 1,000 long, slimy crocodile tongues, boiled up in the skull of a dead witch for 20 days and nights, with the eyeballs of a lizard, and the fingers of a young monkey, the gizzard of a pig, and the beak of a green parrot, the juice of a porcupine, and 3 spoonfuls of sugar. Stew for another week, and then let the moon do the rest." All at once he pushed the white paper bag into James's hands and said, "Here you are, take it, it's yours." I wonder what that's all about.